Hi guys, Assalamualaikum. It's going to be your first video whereby I'm going to give you an introduction about 7 criteria when it comes to identifying good properties ataupun 7 criteria to buy good properties. So why is this so important? Sebab kriteria ni kalau if you guys understand it, it's very predictable for you to be able to buy property that will make money. And if you don't understand this criteria, then you are gambling. Okay, it's not investing, you're just gambling because you have no idea this property is going to make money ataupun it's going to lose money. So now, obviously, if I ask everyone here, who here wants to buy a property whereby you're not sure you're going to make money ataupun you're going to lose money? And most of the time, I would say all of you will answer, no, I don't want to buy property that lose money. But if you don't understand these 7 criteria, then there's always going to be the possibility that you will buy a property that will lose money. So I hope this introduction will give you a sense why this is super important. And like I said, this introduction video, there's going to be 7 more classes, which will break it down into what I think is going to be hopefully not too long of a video, whereby anything between 5 minutes all the way to 15 minutes video. And by the time you master all 7, then you become a savvy investor, whereby you become property which is predictably, won't lose money. Better still, predictably, always make money, right? So, without any delay, so I'm going to quickly share my screen as of now. This is for capital 7 criteria for property investment, right? So bukan pakai sendiri, but this is to buy property for investment saja, right? And how do we develop the 7 criteria? This 7 criteria was developed based on my 15 years of property investing, having bought over 60 properties, and after watching so many people lose money on property investment. That's how I come about the 7 criteria last year. It's basically a guide to make it easy for you guys to understand what are the things that you need to look at before you buy a property. Okay, like I said, based on 15 years of experience, my personal 60 properties, on top of that, a few hundred, if not thousands, of other people's property whereby they buy property and lose money. All right. So once you understand this, then I think it will improve your odds into being able to make money out of property investment. So the 7 criteria have got the 7 things that you need to know. The first one is that what is the difference between new property versus old property? And what kind of price point would you consider buying an old property? Or at what kind of price point would you consider buying new property? Okay, so you go to an area, let's say like Bangsa, right? You see an old property selling for 800,000, you see a new property selling for 900,000. Then which one do you buy, right? So that's the first criteria. Second criteria is understanding what is the mean and median property price in that area, so that you never overpay, right? Because you want to buy property that 50% of the people who are buying to the area can afford to buy that property, versus you buy property whereby only the top 10% or top 5% will be able to buy. What I call the cluster kayangan. Only rich people that goes into the area will be able to buy. So you don't want to do that, right? Because that means your pool of tenants, your pool of buyer will be very small. The third one you must understand here is that every area in Klang Valley, we have this thing called the tier. Is it tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3? And then there's a rule, okay, for each tier. You must make sure that you don't pay, tier 1 prices to buy property in tier 2 or tier 3, right? Now, the fourth rule is this thing called booster. Booster, basically, what is the new story that will come into the area that will help you be able to increase property value and rental value. The fifth one is supply. Are you buying into an area that will be oversupply, or are you buying into a product which is completely undersupply? All right. So obviously you want to buy property which does not have too many supply or competition. Number 6 is this thing called maturity point. When do you actually make money out of this property? And the most ideal thing here is to make money within less than 5 years, not to wait 10 years, 20 years. Because of course, you buy almost any property, you wait 30 years, inshallah, it's not going to be a problem for you to be able to make money after 30 years. But who wants to wait 20 years to make money? If you want, and if you can, you want to be able to make money from day one, right? So that's maturity point. And number 7 here is that what is the rental option which is available to you when you buy this particular property? Are you buying a property with only one rental option, or you are buying property with 5 rental options? Naturally, the more rental option you have, the better. It means if one rental option is not possible anymore, like for example, today we've got COVID, and therefore Airbnb or tourism is dead, right? What are the other rental options which is available to you? Okay, so these are the 7 criteria. Like I said, I spent 15 years to understand this, and finally, in the last 1 to 2 years, I began to develop this into the 7 concise things that you need to look at to improve your probability of making money or losing money. Now, let me give you the outcome. What happens, right, if you don't understand this, and when you understand this. Now, basically, once you understand 7 criteria, you're going to have the ability to be able to predict the future. So that means this property, the one that you're about to buy, before you buy it 2 or 3 years ahead, you'll be able to know, are you going to make money or are you going to lose money from buying this property? So you'll be able to enable you to see the future, power now, right? You can see the future, guys, by understanding the 7 criteria, right? Now, this is a tragic story, okay, of a property that was selling, 6-7 years ago for about 800 ringgit, 900 ringgit, all the way to even about 1,000 ringgit per square foot. Of course, net price roughly about 700 plus per square foot, right? Today, this property is completed. I never liked this property because there's a lot of number one, size is wrong, price is wrong. There's no booster, too many supply, right? And if you look at the 7 criteria, this property breaks all the 7 criteria. Yes. And today, as a result, this is what happened when you don't understand 7 criteria and you buy property that doesn't meet the 7 criteria. Last time you pay 800,000, today auction at less than 500,000 ringgit. Let me repeat. Last time you pay net price 800,000, today now is being auctioned at less than 500,000 ringgit. That means you lose 300,000 buying this property. Rental, minimum negative cash flow by at least 1,000 per month. Some units are negative cash flow 2,000 per month. So people buy property to make money. In this particular case, you lose 300,000 if you were to sell this property today, right? Because you have to sell a lot lower compared to what you paid for. And when you want to rent, you lose about 1,000 to 2,000 ringgit negative cash flow every single month. Now, if you ask any of this owner who has bought this property, would they buy this again? Does this no, right? Unfortunately, even for us at Far Capital, I've got about 3,200 clients as of today. One of them actually accidentally bought this. Of course, they bought this before they became a Far Capital client. Today they regret it. Want to sell, cannot sell. Yeah. So guys, this is what happens when you don't follow the 7 criteria. Now, on the flip side, what happens when you actually follow the 7 criteria, right? This is a property that was selling in 2009 that meets all the 7 criteria. And guess what, guys? This property went from 380,000 to averagely being transacted, right, in the last 24 months at 1.28 million. Let me repeat, guys, from 380,000 to now average transaction of 1.28 million. So every unit that you buy, you can make above 800,000 in net profit in less than 10 years. That's more than 200%. Okay. Not only that, your rental since 2013, 2013, your positive cash flow is above 2,000 ringgit every single month. Okay. So let me repeat, guys. When you follow 7 criteria, this is what you will end up buying. You will end up buying property that will give you above average capital gain, above average positive cash flow. In this particular case, from less than 400,000 to become 1.2 million, less than 10 years. Rental positive cash flow for 2,000 bucks in the last 6 to 7 years. Okay, follow 7 criteria, you guys are going to be happy. Don't follow 7 criteria, you guys are going to cry. So I leave it to you, right, to decide, is this important or not? Okay, my advice, having invested for so many years, please, right, follow. Because if you do, the result is great. If you don't follow, it's 50-50. You are gambling, you're not investing, unfortunately. Okay, now, the last thing I want to leave you with is that how can your life be different? Okay, if you own 5 units like this, 5 units of property grade A, capital gain 800,000 per unit, positive cash flow more than 1,000 per month every single month. What happens when you own 5 of this? What happens when you own 10 of this? So this one skill set, the moment you understand it, you will not lose it, and it will improve your chances dramatically in terms of being able to make profit from property investing. Now guys, I've given you the horror story. I've given you the best story as well. So suffice to say, like every other investment, property investment, there's going to be some risk involved, right? But if you ask me, the difference between people who constantly able to make money and people who constantly losing money, right, is the fact that do you know what you're doing, right? Because in this particular case, whereby I have a client who bought a property from Far Capital in December 2019, and the property not yet completed, about to be completed. We told him rental can get 3,008. Fast forward in November 2020, despite recession, despite PKP baru or MCO, he is still able to get a rental of 3,850. Imagine guys, we bought this property, it wasn't ready, it wasn't completed yet, and we told him he will get a rental of 3,800. Today, this property gets a rental of 3,850. How are we able to tell what is the rental you will be able to get from this property 12 months ahead? It is because we understand 7 criteria. And like I said, if you understand 7 criteria, you'll be able to see the future a little bit, right? So there are going to be some people who buy property and lose money. Okay, and there are going to be people who buy property and make a lot of money, right? And the difference ultimately, guys, is just this. In every other investment, there's going to be a risk. The more you don't know, the higher your risk, right? Your knowledge level low, your risk is higher. Your knowledge level goes up, your risk is a lot lower, right? So like my mentor said, risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. So once you understand 7 criteria, you will know precisely what you're doing. You'll be able to predict the future, and you will improve your odds in terms of buying property that will continuously make money in short. So enjoy your learning. Looking forward to see you in the next 7 videos.